Good afternoon, friends. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. The topic, as we all know, is about revolutionizing customer and omni-channel experience using technology. What I'll do is let's have a quick round of introduction for all of us before we get into the discussion. I'm Bhavesh Vora. I'm the sales engineering leader for Avaya. I'll be the moderator for today's session. We'll be having around 45 minutes. We are joined by 6 panelists. So within Avaya, I'm responsible for the technical operations and the technical sales. Having worked in Avaya for 20 plus years, I've personally involved in a lot of contact center, unified communication projects for major BPOs, banks, service providers, and even government. Today, I look forward to sharing some of my use cases, what we have done in the industry with our customers, and more specifically, I would like to hear from you as well. Some innovative things must be happening in your domain. Yeah. So what we'll do is quickly you can introduce yourself, what you're doing in your company, and then we will kickstart. So let's start with you, Vijay.
Yep. My name is Vijayanand. So I work as a Senior Vice President IT and Information Security and Contact Center Head for Kudos Health. So Kudos Health is 100% owned by Carlyle Group. So it was earlier called Visionary RCM. So it's a merger of 7 different organizations in India and the US. So we predominantly in the US healthcare market, and we are also work on the revenue cycle management services, in which accounts receivables is one of a key part, and we have close to 1,800 people working on the contact center front. So we are based out of multiple locations in India, Philippines, and the US. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Nitin Goyal. I'm from Siemens Gamesa Renewable Energy. I'm heading the user engagement and organizational change management for the entire Asia Pacific and China. And talking about the company, we are into wind turbines manufacturing and installation. So we build wind farms, and we have functions both in onshore as well as offshore. We are the leading producer of wind turbines across the globe.
Yeah, thanks Bhavesh for the warm welcome. So friends, my name is Abhishek. I work in Teleperformance as a Vice President Operations. I head the e-commerce vertical for Teleperformance India. The company in India is more than 20 years old. We have 90,000 employees in India. Worldwide, it is one of the largest service providers in the BPO industry. And overall experience of 21 years, worked in some of the big MNCs like Dell, Groupon, Amazon, and happy to be here having this discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, this is Hari here from Wipro BPO. I head the CX and the AI transformation for across Wipro BPO. I work with the Wipro operations team, and I also work with the contact center IT team as well. So as you are aware, Wipro is present across the globe. They have lots of delivery centers. They have different contact center technologies. My role here is to bring in AI, the ML solutions, and how do we reduce the overall FTE. So that's the reason I have been hired. I have been on the other end where I was working for OEMs like Avaya, Genesis, and it's good that I'm part of this event. Thank you.
So you're seeing the best of both now.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Kamal.
Okay, so good morning, good afternoon. I'm Guna. I'm working as a feature owner director for Visteon Corporation. I'm with this industry, automotive industry, for more than 20 years. And with the same organization also for more than 20 years. I have been playing various roles, starting from software development, and now my primary role is 2 aspects. One is on feature owner context, another one is software architecture. Feature owner means from the OEMs, the list of new technology features we wanted to bring into the product. So Visteon Corporation primarily tier 1 supplier for developing cockpit electronics product almost across the world for all the OEMs. So in that context, within the car, this is the product which brings the all technology feature. Rest of the items are kind of in the mechanical nature. So I'm into that. I like to share my from the automotive context, the technology evolvement, how this is getting connected to the customer. I like to share.
I'm sure that will be a very interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Petri.
Thank you so much. So I am Prem Balaji. I am the territory manager from Avaya. I handle Tamil Nadu and Kerala and Sri Lanka's region. So I work very closely with the customers in the particular region to understand what their delivery is to their customer. What is this kind of experience that they do? They want to give their customers. And since we work with the global team, I work with Bhavesh very closely to understand, across verticals, what is it that is where customers are doing differently, what are their expectations, how do we innovate, to deliver a good experience to the end customer. And we work very closely with the customers to make sure we deliver that.
Okay, thank you. So let's start. So I think if you look at today's topic, it's about omnichannel. When you say omnichannel, I think the industry is used to working in a very siloed mode. So, in customer service, if you see where, it's mainly voice. So voice has been a very convenient channel, but if you see a lot of other verticals, maybe the digital channels like chat are very prominent. Today that is picking up, but they are always typically siloed. Most companies, and there is a lot of talk for the last 5-6 years, there is a talk of, now really giving a true omnichannel experience so that you get a 360 customer journey, because whichever interaction you pick up, what is the background of the customer. That is ask. And if you go a little back in time, I think around 10 to 15 years ago, we used to have a conversation with a lot of banks. And there were two things, digital transformation is important to give omnichannel experience. It is not just to give a more convenient customer service, because digital is definitely more convenient, but the organizations have also benefited in reducing the cost. So if you take a bank example, to service a customer in a bank, it is extremely costly. If he calls the call center, the cost is lesser. But if you use internet, ATM, or phone, the mobile banking, the cost is like minuscule. So it is an advantage for both of them. So what I've heard and what industry tells is that reduction of the cost was a great motivator, but it also complemented in giving a very superior customer service. So keeping that in mind, I think Mr. Anand, let's start with you. The question I would like to ask is, the customer expectations are continuously evolving. How does your organization foster a culture of continuous improvement in these omni-channel technologies, especially when the landscape is continuously changing? Because today you have invested in a platform, it is catering to certain things. And last week there was a flood in Chennai, so there was a lot of discussion on DR and all. Is the platform ready to take this kind of hit? The pandemic hits us, you have to suddenly have work from home. Suddenly there's a promotion of being a digital channel. So what do you see as a challenge in managing all these things? Give your perspective.
So I think we are the only generation where we have come from zero technology to a lot of technology which involves AI and Gen A and whatever. So when it comes to the organization, the customer expectation, let me first talk about it. 10 years back or 20 years back, the customer expectations were different. Before, even for a banking, we had to go to the banks. For anything we had to step out, whether to buy something, groceries, or you need to buy some stuff. Everything you used to go to physically to a shop or a mall or something. But today, the complete interface has changed. Everything is online. Whether you want to do any kind of digital transactions in the bank, or whether it's a customer experience, or you need to buy something, everything is digital online. Which means the customer experience and the customer interaction automatically kicks in. And when it comes to an organization, whether you serve your customers or you serve other clients or businesses, now that becomes very important, because the moment a customer, today, if I would like to have a touch point on some omni-channel, I would like some kind of a data to be already there with the other end. So that because I don't want to sit and explain. For me, time is important now. So the moment I do a call with a customer care, then basically I would expect them to have some kind of a data, whether I'm doing it as an email, I'm doing it as a chat, I'm doing it as a call, or I'm doing it as a WhatsApp. Today, the entire landscape has changed. If you see, even today, if I'm going to order medicine online, automatically I'm getting a WhatsApp message saying that hey, this is what I've ordered. If you have any queries, this is what is this. But so that's the way the technology has transformed. So as a customer, the expectations have completely transformed, because we are now seeing multiple channels, in the sense we are seeing multiple OEMs or multiple organizations are giving us different experiences, whether it's an Amazon or it's a Apollo Pharmacy, or is it a kind of any kind of a shopping you do, or whatever it is. Everybody gives us different kinds of omni-channel experiences. So today in this world, now everybody has some kind of a knowledge on what is customer experience. then the threshold levels have come down. So people are not tolerant like before. Today, like, somebody calls me and they ask me questions like, I get irritated. I say, like, hey, you are supposed to all have all the data. So I've raised a query, so you need to have the data. If I'm not getting this proper response, so response times are becoming very much more important. And the answers, I don't want to go for this IVR stuff and also. People don't want to wait, keep pressing these IVRs. They are like, fed up. They want some kind of an AI technology, or they want some kind of a responsive technology which can immediately address a query. Maybe like, you choose one or two, but like, they want the first 30 seconds of interaction is very, very important, or the first 10 seconds. So that is what people want. They want their query to be at least identified or addressed, or at least, like, the other end person. So that way, as an organization, what we are trying to do is, whether it's on internal customers, external customers, we are trying to make sure we have some kind of a understanding of the user's problem. So whether it's a CRM database, or like, whether it's a previous legacy data or whatever, before even the interaction, we make sure, like, some kind of a data point is there with the caller or the agent to make sure we give a good customer experience. So today it's all about CX, customer experience. So we need to make sure that CX is there. So as an organization, we constantly look at technology. So again, if you see, the technology platform keeps changing so drastically that, like, by the time you adopt something, you try to deploy it, you train your people, something new comes in. So even before, like, you adopt it, today, like, everybody comes and say, hey, we are a new AI technology. We can do everything. Like, in fact, you don't even need to have agents. We ourselves will have an AI bot which will interact with the customers, it will pull data, it will do the IVR. So basically, is it going to change without that human empathy or that human emotion stuff is going to be there, or is it going to be complete robotic, is what we need to wait and watch for.
I think that's an interesting perspective, Vijay. You brought about, sometimes humans can be uncomfortable with technology if it is not implemented properly. So, I mean, if you see customers, there are two types, all of us, India is now really no longer a SMB, it's a large enterprise, a lot of large companies, and customers can be your external customers, or it can even be the internal customers. Internal customer itself can be thousands of employees. That itself is a huge operation. So keeping that in mind, and where Vijay left, Nitin, I would like to ask you, I mean, how do you see balancing of technology with, human touch? Yeah. Because technology evolving very fast. People are adopting new channels, new ways of doing things. But are human beings, able to adapt? Or are we? How do companies pace it with the customer expectations?
Rightly pointed out, Bhavesh. Technology is important, and technology is ever evolving and evolving at a much faster pace than we expected. But at the same time, when we look at humans, we are not evolving at the same pace. So in order for the customers to actually keep pace with the changing technology, we have to be very careful in the application of these technologies and how they are impacting the customers. So there are a lot of, eventually what our goal is to make lives easier for our customers and also for the organization at the same time. I think you started very well by talking about the different channels. I'll just, before I get into the human touch part of it, I wanted to share about the different channels that we use, and from the organizational perspective and also from the customer perspective, how it changes. So you have a portal or a mobile app. So that is the most preferred channel of communication from the company perspective, because it is much cheaper and easier to handle, and also you capture a lot of data which can be utilized later for analytics. Second would be something like a chat, where you interact with most like a human being, not a bot. And then third would be the one-to-one call, which is the conventional way of handling the customers. As you move from the portal or the mobile application towards chat, the cost increases significantly for the organizations, and also you require more and more resources, you require more training. But from the customer perspective, when you look at it, it's most convenient for a customer to take up a phone and call the customer care and expect a resolution right there itself in the first call. It's less convenient for the customer to go and type in the chat and explain things over chat, and of course, the least preferred channel is through a portal or a mobile channel. But now things are changing, things are evolving, customers are getting more and more aware, and they are becoming more tech savvy. But at the same time, we cannot expect all customers to be on the same level. The customer awareness on the technology, the way they use technology differs enormously across the band of customers. So when we talk of omni-channel experience, we have to take into account the entire customer base as a whole, and not for a specific set of users who are more much convenient and easy to use on the applications and portals. That's why we have a few things that we have to keep in mind to ensure that we have a human touch when talking of omnichannel experiences. So as we talked about, technology is changing now. There are so much that we can put in the first touch point. Let's start with a portal or a mobile application that we have. We see there are so complicated interfaces available. I enter a particular portal and I am lost. After 5 minutes, I realize that I don't remember what I wanted to do with this portal or this service. So that is one of the most important things, as Vijay also rightly pointed out, that the first few minutes or the first few seconds are very important. That is where the customer actually creates a perception of the service. So if it is simple, at the same time, it has got all the important modules that you have in your service clearly charted out, then it makes the first step and encourages the user to move ahead. So I mean, that is first thing on the touch point that I or the human touch I would like to touch upon. Then we have capturing the right information from the users. Now there are channels where you have to enter a lot of your personal information before you can actually browse their services or get to know what is on offer. So that is what makes customers very unhappy and unwilling to move forward with the channel. So of course, I understand it is very important for the organizations to capture the data. But what can be done here is to collect this information in stages. At the first step, we only capture the information which is very important for us to take them to the next level. And then as the customer develops interest into the service, or he can ensure that, okay, I'm in the right place and I'm looking for the right thing in the right place, then he is more willing to share more information, and he feels more secure, and he doesn't feel that this information is not required at this point of time. So that is another thing, which makes the user experience, impacts the user experience, I would say. Then on the utilization of the data that has been collected. Now, when we talk of omnichannel experiences, we expect that if I raise a ticket on a phone call, then when I log into the portal and I punch in my ticket number, I get all the details. Or if I enter into a chat with an agent, I get the same experience. But unfortunately, by design, these things are absolutely fine. But coming to the practical experiences, these agents somehow overlook the information or the data provided by the customer earlier. And there's so much of information available on the back end for the agents, they tend to overlook some of the important information. And that results in the agents asking the same questions repeatedly, and that really puts off the customer. So that is another thing which we need to consider very carefully in order to give a fantastic customer experience. Then we generally have some templates or checklists, which again I'm talking about the agent, and they use in order to make sure that they get all the right things and they can guide the user or the customer in the right way. But then that checklist or template has to be used judiciously, because especially at the L1 level, the people dealing with the customers, they just follow it mechanically. So there could be a lot of information available or in the checklist which is actually not required. So they should have a more cognitive approach there. Okay, in this particular case, what all the things am I supposed to discuss with the customer or ask them? So that is another aspect. Coming to the communication part of it, I mean, when we talk of a complete transaction from the point the customer enters the portal to the point he completes a deal, communication, especially in elongated, not in online shopping, but more service oriented processes, we see that there could be a lot of communication happening through emails, SMSs, or even irritating phone calls. So that is enough to again, make a customer vow that, okay, no, I'm not going to use this service anymore. I'm flooded, I'm spammed with emails or too many phone calls. So we have realized in our organization that especially for the service desk, we have optimized the number of emails that a user gets when he raises a ticket on a complaint. So that goes same with the customers as well. It's very important. The communication is there. At times you don't know what is happening. You have raised a ticket and you have absolutely no idea what is happening. So no communication is also not a good idea, but we should have optimal level of communication so that the customer knows where his the status of his query is, at the same time not spamming the customer. Finally, analytics. We collect a lot of data during the customer interaction, and I don't know how far we are in a position to analyze it to give a personalized experience to the customers. That has always been a challenge. I mean, all of these things emerged with the emergence of CRM, but still it's a long way to go. So that is something where I think AI can really help organizations to use the analytics effectively in order to use the customers.
I think, thank you, Nitin. I think you've gotten very interesting points, and I'm going to come back to a few of them. With the one point that you start with, I think you mentioned about how too many portal complications and all. So even if you look at the agent side, today on an average, each contact center agent handles around 4 to 6 screens for every interaction, and there is a lot of struggle. You don't know the nature of the issue, nature of the customer profile. They have to go into multiple forms. They say, I'll put you on hold. When they are actually putting on hold, they are actually searching for information. And that increases the average handling time significantly. And of course, companies are also trying to, provide customer service to the most optimum channel. And if I give an example of a live customer, we have been working with a large e-commerce company, and I'll come to you, Mr. Abhishek. So these e-commerce companies, everything is from a mobile app now. I think earlier it used to be portal and mobile app both. Now they want to stick the experience to the mobile app. So this company found that 95% of the experience is from the mobile app itself. And sometimes wherein there is an issue, customer had to call, but then they had to leave the mobile app. So, it breaks it, and it makes the customer also uncomfortable. They don't know what to do and all. So, the strategy that they deployed, and I think it worked very well. I'll just share the experience, that we don't want the customer to call us. They are on the mobile app. If there is an issue, mostly it is a delivery issue or a payment not going through issue. So there's a callback option on the mobile app itself. So the moment they press callback, the application will display the expected wait time. You will get a call back in 20 seconds or 2 minutes or 3 minutes. You don't need to call us. And even before that, the contact center routing strategy identifies the most optimum channel. Maybe I don't need to call him. I can initiate a chat channel with him, or I'll just do a SMS or email. That strategy saw significant improvement in CSAT. So now no inbound calls, customers waiting in queue, have to punch in IVR and all. You just select callback and you'll get a call back, and when the agents are available. So it works very efficiently both ways. And this is in the trend which is specifically picking up in e-commerce. So this is something I have observed. So with that, Mr. Abhishek, if you would like to share some of your thoughts on this and omni-channel discussions,
Sure, Ramesh. So So I won't be able to share the client's name because
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
obviously. Even I didn't take a name.
legal and contract. Yeah, that was
Yes.
nice of you. So most of the e-commerce companies in India and globally also, what they've done is they have a particular app, and the way they try to do contact avoidance at this point in time is that if the customer is asking that where is the delivery, and or for example the product is not is not up to the standards what I had ordered, so some of those queries are pre-feeded in a chat bot kind of a conversation. And there are two kinds of bots right now. One is preloaded, where it's very simple to preload it. You ask simple queries, the
FAQ
bot
kind
answers the question, and then the customer disconnects. Simple as that. And then there are conversational bots where the bot is trying to understand that what exactly is your question mark, and the bot after a point in time should be most likely in 1 minute or 2 minutes then tells the customer that why don't you contact the customer service, and there is a number or an email address which sort of pops up. A lot of banks actually are doing it in India, which is so also it tells you that it's not just the e-commerce industry, it's the BFSI industry as well. So if you are going to a particular bank and there is a particular policy you've taken with a bank and you're paying a premium, say monthly, quarterly, yearly, and you want to understand that how much is your net worth on the amount which you're submitting, the bot again gives you the answer. And then you're actually wondering that how is the bot giving you the answer, because this is supposed to be a part of my account. So is my data secure? Is the environment very safe? And organizations have come to a point where the data privacy is the topmost priority for every single organization, and it has to be. And the government of India now has introduced the law, and the law is going to come into effect, and that will change a lot of things in India, the way I look at it. So overall, e-commerce industry app is the way forward. Customer service, when the customer is calling you, to what Bhavesh just mentioned, is mostly on the callback model now.
Yes.
And the good part with the e-commerce organizations is they have a concept called peak intervals. So you staff your associates in peak intervals. You know exactly what time are the customers going to call you. Companies have done enough of analysis to understand that is Monday the busiest day, is Tuesday the busiest day, and you would be surprised to know this, that Sunday afternoon is the busiest time period, because that's the time, Sunday afternoon, as in like after 11 a.m. in the morning, customers find a lot of time. So they've done their partying, or they've done taking their families out on a Saturday, and now Sunday is just for them, and they've got up late, and the first thing which they're checking on the mobile is that product delivered, not delivered, and if they have any other queries on the quality of the product also, then they sort of contact. But yeah, omni-channel presence is very important. There's also a concept in the industry called super agent. So associate or an agent is supposed to be good on voice, that person is also supposed to take chat, person is also supposed to take emails. The concept is slightly flawed, because you're expecting person to do multitasking, and it's not going to happen. And whichever projects which I have seen working very closely with some of the big e-commerce organizations in India and outside, that project of super agent doesn't necessarily always is a success. And over a period of time, the agent gets burnt out, stressed out, and actually comes back to you saying, I can't do 3 things at a time, or even 2 things at a time.
Yes.
And then you will have to very clearly tell the associate and the agent that, all right, just stick to one particular channel and do the best in that particular channel. With voice, the complexity is that if you're taking a call, there is no way you can chat. So voice is standalone. Organizations tried that, can you do chat and email? So say you're chatting with a couple of customers and there are emails also from the customers, and can you do both? Again, the answer is actually a no. So super agent concept over a period of time, I think, will evolve. And I'll be also honest with you, how many college students wants to come and work as associates and agents? In our generation, it used to be the case where any opportunity presented, you would like to work. But in today's generation, there is a very different mentality that should I really become a call center associate or a customer service associate? That's another angle in the omni-channel discussion which we are doing.
Very interesting. I think what Abhishek you said is true. I think 15-20 years ago, that was an aspirational job.
Correct.
Because the people, they were making good money.
Correct.
And I think the traditional manufacturing sector was not giving so much
That's
money.
right.
So I think it was aspirational, but today it is not. There I think there's a whole set of startups
That's right.
blossoming everywhere. People would rather study and work there.
Probably
Yeah.
they think they'll probably make more money on a YouTuber or a
Correct.
YouTuber.
Yeah. So I think you brought an interesting perspective, actually, and about omni-channel. You really need super agents to have an omni-channel strategy.
Right.
So basically, you are saying that agents will not be able to handle all channels, but the platform should be able to handle all channels
right.
and route it to the agents. But the agents will always be separate.
That's right.
That is what I think we are also seeing, because it's very difficult to have agents skilled on everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hari, I would like to come to you and also take a point with Nitin mentioned, about analytics.
Yeah.
So I think tons of data is created every day.
Yes.
Whether it is digital interactions in terms of chat or voice conversations. Now, obviously, everything is recorded, but who's going to sit and listen to the recordings to really find meaningful insights
Yes.
or give feedback to the agents. So, you probably listen to 1 to 5% of the calls, and based on that assessment, quality assessment, you identify this is what the customers are trying to ask us, and this is what the agent gathers. But this is not a true sample, like how you see in elections. You saw the exit polls and all that. You sample 1.5 lakh people and you try to assess how the whole country is thinking.
Yes.
But today, I think, you'll be surprised. Today, AI tools are available, analytics tools are available that can actually go through all the recordings. After the recordings are done, you listen to all the recordings, an AI robot listens to it,
Yes.
and it gives you meaningful insights. So that is available today. So with that point, Hari, I would like to ask you a question, what are the challenges that organizations commonly face, when they're trying to seamlessly integrate multiple channels?
Yes.
Like Abhishek brought about that point, but even implementing it is a channel. There is
Yes,
a human
yes.
side and that. So if you would like to touch upon that.
Yeah, see, today, when I think about omni-channel, what is omni-channel like? You're going to implement it for your existing customers. For a new customer, it's not going to be there, right? So the investment that you invest for the retention is going to be less compared to a new acquisition customer. So what do I do with that less cost, but is it easy to implement? Because omni-channel today, contact centers, take for example Avaya as a voice channel, and CRM wants to drive a digital transformation with chat or email, and there might be a social media, different application. How do I integrate all these applications and I give a single view? That is the most toughest job. Either I can give an experience to an agent real-time omni-channel is really tough, but with the historical data, providing omni-channel analytics is something where you create a data lake and relate the data, creating a kind of RDMS, writing logics to relate the data and giving an insight. Yes, that's possible. Our organization is doing it for, especially for e-commerce companies, because today a customer goes on a website, I need to know web analytics, I need to ease on a call. Of course, I get insights from conversational, the QA automation tools, but ultimately all these insights help me to automate. Tomorrow I'm going to implement a AI technology. Do I have the data sets? This omni-channel stitching of all the channels, bringing in insights from all these channels will help me to automate in the future. So that's where the organization is investing more on omni-channel. But is it easy to implement? Challenges? Yes, tough. Lots of APIs and probably getting data on batches, schedule basis, creating the data every day and trying to create a dashboard, 360-degree dashboard. This ultimately helps the marketing team also to understand what is the customer preference. Okay, this is the customer, he prefers this particular channel. So do we drive this customer using this particular product or not? Is it right to run this particular campaign for this particular customer? All that, especially in e-commerce and banking, is where I see omni-channel getting implemented. Is it easy to implement? Yes, challenges are there, and that's the reason I'm here to get insights from you people. Yeah.
So I think what the gist I'm getting is there is a need for getting omni-channel, but implementing it is difficult. But the people who are going to handle omni-channel is going to be also more difficult. So it is not so easy. We are still on a very long journey.
Yes.
Thanks, Hari. I think we'll come back to you. So, Mr. Gunasekar, I think yours is a little different industry. So, we would love to hear your perspective on the technology trends of omni-channel, also and what is the human aspect. And before that, you also have to explain what is the meaning of a feature owner director.
That's a good question. So see, feature owner, let me go with this one, then I'll come to this, completely I wanted to give a different perspective of this omnichannel experience, how this is going to be integrated. Okay, so the feature owner context is, it started with the agile practices, right? Like we had two key roles, like one is product owner and scrum master. So the product owner is the one, like, he takes complete responsibility of the product and starts from the planning and making sure that it's been sliced in a way that, like, tasks are being divided and given to the team and get things done. But he take the complete ownership. While the complexity of the product increases, like, while I started my career, like, for delivering a product from software development context, like we were having 4. Now, for the same product, 400 people are working. Yeah, it's 100 times multiplied the complexity. So, a single person as a product owner, understanding the features of the product, it's too difficult. Like we do have 10,000 requirements in the product, and one person handling all the things is a bit difficult. So, the feature owner is kind of subset of product owner. They take that specific area, the specific features. That person will take complete ownership from understanding the customer requirements until it's getting delivered with the appropriate quality. So that's how this feature owner concept evolved. So my team primarily takes care of that feature ownership. So we primarily interface with OEMs, customers, and understand their need for that particular feature, then go and deliver it. So coming to this omnichannel experience in automotive, like let me give just 20 years back versus what we are doing today. So that will give you a different contrast of how things are being evolving in the automotive industry, right? So if you buy a car 20 years back, right, we mostly prefer for cost-effective mechanism. So even we will not buy the audio from the OEM. That will be coming as an optional feature. If you want, you can take it. Otherwise, it's an optional stuff. That's it. Right? So we'll have only one instrument cluster. That is how it was evolved in India. So because that is the effective way of managing the cost. Now, 20 years after now, if you look at that, everyone who buy a car, they are not looking after the power of the engine, what mechanics are there, everything. They look at what features are inside the car. This is the major transformation between 20 years back versus this younger generation, what they are looking for, right? So, on cars we are buying, like, what are all the list of features I'm having better than you is what we are looking for, right? So, I'll come to that feature context and omnichannel experience, what we are bringing, how that is connected to external world. Right? So, the primary objective while we evolve in the last 20 years is, once the smartphone has come in, integration of smartphone technologies, bringing same experience into the car is the primary focus. Like, let's go with the example of, like, I'm attending a call via MS Teams, and I'm just entering into a car, right? Do I have time to connect to this vehicle with another stuff? We will not, because we wanted to continue the phone call, whether it's voice or it is through WhatsApp or it's through Teams, right? So now, if you enter inside the car, things will be automatically connected. You will have flawless communication without knowing that whether you are outside the car, you are going inside and driving it, right? Then another example could be like, you are searching to go for a location. Then I wanted to go from Chennai to Bangalore. Then you would have searched how much time it will take through your smartphone, and you keep your phone inside your pocket and you are opening the car and driving. A map will be displayed automatically. It will show the direction navigation to drive it to Bangalore, right? So that is another transformation. Then the media, right? Like always we subscribe to different, the music channels, like it's a Kana or whatever it is, right? We subscribe in the smartphone, we listen to that. But you would have listened the same thing in the home or office, and you are going inside the car, you want to continue to listen to the same services at whatever you subscribe for. All these provisions are being now brought into our car, like either a phone call or music, everything, whatever you subscribed in the smartphone, everything would be coming automatically into your car, and you can have this continuation of this. It's an excellent human touch. Okay, so I'll bring in lot more examples, like from human touch points. Like take a simple thing of like anniversary, birthday, all those things. You open a door and you get a message that happy birthday message. Right? It's a technology stuff. It's been you might have entered that information while you bought the car in the dealership, but the data is being entered and the car is getting that information and displaying to you. So how would you feel when that message is popping up while you open this? Go inside the car, right? Then coming to other aspect of service, diagnostics and all. You get that due, right? Like after 10,000 kilometers, you go for service. Usually we forget, right? Like we in the busy schedule, we don't get all this time to look at this. There is an algorithm written in our instrument cluster, like it will give that service maintenance warning. Even that gives a warning, we will forget, right? Like we'll take it up maybe next day, tomorrow, or whatever it is. Today it does give the provision of like, okay, there is a due, this many miles to go. Do you like to contact service center? Then just a press of button, you can book that appointment for that, right? So this is where like the technology is connecting to these human touch points. Another example is like you have a problem in a vehicle. There is an issue, but you might not have noticed, and it's very hard for a driver to understand what the technical impact of that particular issue. But the data is being communicated to the dealership or service center. You get a call like from the service center, your vehicle is having such a problem. Either you please park that vehicle on road to prevent the major damage, or bring the vehicle to service center for immediate recovery of that particular problem. So how much connected today to this context is really we are continuously evolving, and this is improving on this. Yeah.
And that's absolutely true. I mean, I can correlate to that, relate to that very well, because one is, I think it's more about electronics now in the car. I think Tesla now says, there is more electronics and mechanical engineering in the car, right?
Right.
So definitely, I think this is very, very important. And I know, driving in Bangalore, sometimes you drive for 1.5 hours. And earlier it was very difficult to attend conference calls, but now with this kind of technology available, you start the conference call with your mobile syncing with the dashboard. You hear seamlessly, the audio quality is very good. And when you reach the destination, you switch off the car, it prompts, do you want to continue the conversation on your mobile? Yeah. The call continues. So, you don't feel the traffic jam and all, because a lot of work is going on. So this is, I think, definitely helping a lot.
Okay. Another part is the safety, right? Like while you are driving, safety is very important stuff. Like this technology integration from human perspective, like for automotive, we need to focus on both safety and also on this convenience. Safety perspective, like there is a driver monitoring system available. You are driving a long way in the midnight, you will feel that drowsiness would be there, right? But nobody will be monitoring. Even we also will not be feeling that we could continue. We can go for another 100 miles, then we will take a break. But there is a camera inside that vehicle which continuously monitor our eyeballs and see that like you are going to sleep, and it will detect and mention that like your driving pattern is not good. So it will immediately give the warning. You will feel more drowsy. You have that sleepiness is there, and it will give a path map to nearest coffee shop. Right. So that much level of touch point is being created. It's getting created like the technology helps for that.
Cars have eventually transformed into huge gadgets.
Yes,
And more of gadgets.
You spend time over there, so you have to utilize how you entertain yourselves in the internet home. You need entertainment in the car itself. That's very interesting. I think so. I've working with government, I've seen interesting statistics also. I'll take the statistics, and I would like to come to you also, Prem. That most of the truck accidents, they happen in the afternoon. As you rightly mentioned, they feel drowsy. And they say that it is the period between 2 to 4. Post lunch, when you are in a hot weather, right. The drivers are driving, they have been driving whole night, they continue driving, and they just slip the road. And we don't have safety mechanisms. An alert mechanism like this helps a lot.
Yeah.
So I want to give a perspective of customer service in government as well. Done a lot of projects, especially emergency. You have to, you all know, right? You dial 100 for police, 108 for ambulance. Now it is 112. In India, it has been implemented so well across all states, and I can give an example of one of the largest states because it's a media case study. It's Uttar Pradesh. We all know it is the largest state in the country, and that entire state is done on a single call center. So if you look at it from a call center size, UP state is providing police services on 100 for the entire state from a single location. It is bigger than any country in the world, because even North America and Europe and all, they have district wise, state wise and all that, but this is a single state. And if you look at the SLAs, how well they manage it, you call a call center, you say this is the emergency, there is a technology available that finds out the location, it can even dispatch you anywhere in UP, they dispatch in 15 minutes. Police van will reach your state. I'm not talking about Lucknow or the proper towns, remote parts. They reach in 15 minutes. These are the kind of SLAs even government is, able to manage. It's something unheard of in enterprises.
Yeah.
You hear about Domino's pizzas and all that, but there are SLAs, and I've seen those reports. Like they adhere to it 98 to 99% of the time. So it's going in citizen service as well. Prem, anything you would like to add from omnichannel perspective? You have been working with a lot of customers.
Yes,
if you have some story to tell, you can please. Yeah.
So I think everyone has given enough points for us to talk about an omnichannel story. Like one of the important points that we talked about, there are different types of people these days who look at contact center or who look at as a customer would reach out to. For example, I might be a little traditional. I always need a touch of a human. When it comes to something, I'll call the contact center. But if you look at these Gen Z, people after 2000, they don't want to get on a call. It's just a chat. They want to chat or drop an email or get a WhatsApp message. And they also, when it comes to this, those are experiences that everyone wants to, deliver to their customers. So it is very important for, as companies to adhere to all their customer base. Let it be a traditional customer who does a phone or someone who just messages you. But it is very important for companies to, adopt this. And one of the key things, I did not realize how omnichannel was so important in a car till Mr. Guna started talking about it. Because today, as I get into a car when I'm on a Teams meeting or in a phone call, it seamlessly moves into it. But if I have to think about it 5 years ago, 6 years ago, it was a very difficult thing for us. So it plays a very important role. And see, we working with customers across manufacturing or an ITES background or BPO or BFSA, everyone has their own different omni-channel requirement. It may not be the same across, but it is different for everyone. And it is very important, for Avaya as a customer experience company. We deliver a product that you make sure we provide the best customer experience to our customers. So it is important for us to, connect with customers, understand their requirements and, suggest solutions. So I think it was very, informative. Session was very informative. I think we have a very good omni-channel story, and from a solution perspective as well, for just a brief about what we do at Avaya, while we talk about omni-channel and customer experience, we're one of the few companies, I think I could also say the only company globally who does solutions on-premise, on hybrid cloud or on the cloud. Because we want customers to have that flexibility. Because there are a lot of customers like in government verticals who do not want to go to the cloud, they want to do on-prem. There are a lot of startups who want to start on the cloud and then slowly grow there. So we are one of the OEMs who provides all these experience seamlessly for customers starting from small size, like MSMB from 5 to 10 agents, to large BPOs across globally, who spread across globally. So I think with this input, I think it is very informative for us. Thank you so much. It helps us also learn, what are the problems or challenges that companies have. So we take this as a feedback. We go back, we work on with our team to see how we address those challenges as well.
Thanks, Bhai. One more point I want to touch upon, and I'll keep it open, whoever wants to take it. I think cloud has been one of the biggest pillars, for digital transformation. While, as Prem also mentioned, we do on-premise, cloud, hybrid. a lot of applications are moving to cloud. Initially, customers used to feel that on-premise cheaper, moving to cloud is more expensive. And maybe moving to cloud is not secure. My data, what will happen to my data, as you rightly mentioned, data, what will happen to my data. But now the trend has changed, and I think this is my observation. I want to hear from you all. There has been a lot of hacks in enterprises, ransomware attacks and all. And what is that wherever the applications were on-prem, they were hacked more compared to cloud. So what is the driver? Most customers still say that moving to cloud is more expensive, but there is a clear mandate to move to cloud. And the message is, if there are issues, fix it from the C level. So you would like to take it, yeah. So what is this whole thing about cloud? Yeah?
So see, cloud is inevitable. So even before we realized what is cloud, we have been using cloud right from the days when we were using Yahoo email or something. So so it's a difference between cloud and on-premise. If you are able to show where your data is physically, this is in this server, then it is on-prem. If it is somewhere in this area, then it is in the cloud. So if you're not exactly pointed out. The advantage of cloud is the lift and shift and the upscaling and the downscaling. That is one major point. For example, for us, when we are a US healthcare company, so all our though we run a large contact center, we cannot store all the recordings because it contains PHA data. So everything has to be stored in the US. So we can't set up huge data centers and all. So we rely on the cloud service providers. And the other advantage is for example, when there was COVID, we had to move close to 5,000 people to work from home immediately. Now, for that team, for the support part internally, we had to form a separate team which was completely an omni-channel contact center, purely internal customer support. So this thing had to be on chat, it had to be on mobile phones. So that month alone we got something like only support calls around some 30,000 from 4,000, 5,000 people. So people have to be available and these calls have to be recorded, so these guys will be traveling, they'll be in remote places, they might not have access to internet, so they have to rely on the mobile phones. But all those calls again have to be recorded. So as an organization, we need to constantly change our strategy. So one day we made it completely inbound. So people raise tickets or they will call the inbound. Then we found the number of agents and the number of calls coming in were not matching. So we said, okay, stop it. We can't do that stuff. So we'll give you a hunting number. You'll give a missed call, and we'll call you back. So we changed the strategy. So, but this is all possible because I was able to have all this platform on the cloud. So then installing an app in the mobile phone so that agents will get the calls directly on the mobiles. They can call out directly through the app on the mobiles. So these were all possible because everything was on the cloud for me, because I was able to expand or handle that kind of volumes within a short period of time. So today for me, as you said, even on the security front, so again, for us, security is also, security and compliance is very important. We follow nothing less than 8-9 different policies and standards. We are a kind of a banking sector also. So in that case, we cannot in whether in India or US, if I'm going to have my own data center, I cannot definitely come up with that levels of security or standards or policies or whatever. That's crazy. But today with the cloud, today they have the complete infrastructure which in terms of power, in terms of cooling, in terms of security, in terms of the fail-safe methods, everything is far better than what you can technically do that. And again today because of the chip industry, if I want to buy some servers, it takes nothing less than 2-3 months. Okay, and today if I want to ramp up in 1 week, how can I wait for 3 months? That is not possible. So this is much more easier. Yes, the cost is there, but again, that calls for a different strategy. That calls for a different management perspective. If you want to go on a cloud method, then you need to be completely aware of the different pricing models. You need to be aware. See, again, a lot of people say cloud is expensive, but the point is very simple. As if you know how to measure and manage it, then you can definitely work on the cloud pricing. It's not cheap. Because compared to on-prem, they put so much of infra and they do so much. So cloud is going to be decently, not much, probably it should be 10-15% more than that, and again it's going to be an OPEX model. And if you know how to control it, if you know how to move active data, put it in cold storage, keep it hot, warm, if you know those kind of jargons, and if you have a solid team which manages it, then you're absolutely comfortable. But the advantages of as I told you, the lift and shift and the upscaling, downscaling, those and all, if you know how to play around, it's like a game only basically. If you are smart in that, then cloud is a good way to go. And today, if you see, all the OEMs are in fact offering, for example, today, I don't need to host my Oracle in a separate AWS. Oracle themselves give them today anything if you go, it's on cloud. Invariably, your today, you won't believe, today everything is on the cloud. For example, your personal data is on the cloud. You today you have accounts with Google, you have accounts with Apple. So if you have an Apple phone and you have an Android phone, then by default you will have a 2 TB package in Apple, you will have a 1 TB package in Google. You can't deal with 5 to 5 gigabit. So that's a kind of scaling what you can easily do, and the downscaling you can do. And as you rightly said, the cars, today that is an experience center. So today people don't buy it what mileage it gives, nobody's going to bother about it. So they buy cars for the experience in terms of connectivity, in terms of maps, in terms of the different ADAS. Today there are so much of features available, even in the mid-sized segments and the low segments, so much of features, which is the people are growing, so the expectations are growing. And this is possible only because everything is on the cloud again.
Exactly.
So
to touch upon that,
this is on the cloud, because for them it's very difficult, because today onset of 5G, okay, the data explosion is much more. So earlier, your connectivities are very, the connectivity channels are very less, but today with the explosion, today people are having 1 gigabit, pipe at their homes. Forget the offices. Okay, everybody has a 1 Gbps line. Airtel gives you for 3,999 per month, which is damn cheap, and your company reimburses it. So it's like a 1 gig line at your home, which means, and today all the devices are interconnected. Today you buy a washing machine, you buy a fan, everything is Wi-Fi connected. So where does all that statistics go? Everything is stored on the cloud. So, and with the explosion of these devices, I don't think any individual organization can, on-prem, they cannot afford to put that kind of server farms or maintain that, and that's what is very difficult. So obviously you have to rely on the clouds. And today the data is also shrunk. In fact, 2 weeks back I was with a meeting with Lenovo. They are giving you a 2U box,
Okay.
which has a 1 petabyte capacity. Each hard disk, which is NVMe hard disk, is 60 terabytes. Which means he's saying 1 petabyte in a 2U box. Then imagine what you can do in a 42 rack. So that's a kind of data, and those all are NVMe, the latest chips, which is the speed is there. So definitely as an organization, I cannot afford to buy a 2U box with 1 petabyte and deploy. But as a data center, as a cloud service provider, yes, they can do that. And today all the OEMs are now heavily relying, they are hosting their, so today Avaya, whether you take whoever it is, Avaya or Gen, everybody is now on the cloud. And they themselves are saying hey, why you want to go to you hosting it? We'll provide you as a SaaS. So today SaaS has come past, so much of, even cloud as a service is now come, so everything is open for you. So if you, and again, every organization has their own strategy, business models and everything. If you know how to manage it, if you know how to deploy what, that's where the experience comes, that's why your, the partners come, the correct advice comes. Okay, so the more interaction do with the OEMs, more interaction do with the partners, something new is coming up, so you'll know how to optimize it. And so today there are so much of startups who call you on a daily basis, say we'll optimize your cloud for you. I said, what is that I'm not doing and you are going to do? No sir, we will bring you 30% cost down on your cloud.
Okay.
What is that you are doing that I'm not doing? That's an interesting fact, because if let's say I'm spending $1 million in cloud per day, per month or per year, what is that is doing to save that 30%? That's interesting, because so that's where we need to start focusing. So cloud, that the reliability is there, but this is what we have to work on.
Very good. I think so. What you're saying is cloud is a given. It is more agile.
Yes.
It is more expensive, but that is the way to go.
It's not more expensive. No, it's not more expensive. It's manageable.
Manageable.
Manage.
Yeah,
I
please.
wanted to give a, from automotive context, as Vijay mentioned, for automotive, it's inevitable actually. Go with one context, you have a problem in a vehicle that is to be fixed. Then only option is we need to take the vehicle to service center. There is a manpower involved, and he need to spend time to flash the software. Now cars are being equipped with so many electronics ECUs. Right? they are going to interface with each other. Then if there is a problem, something to be fixed, manpower involved is too huge in today's scenarios, right? So here we don't have time to go to service center. Even if you go to service center, the amount of charge they are going to make, they need to spend almost half a day to resolve or flash everything. Then once the cloud comes in here, everything is going to be like, we have a software that will be uploaded into the cloud. Then there is a provision called flash over there. In the night, automatically the software will be downloaded and everything will be sorted out, even without we know that something has happened in the week. It's not only for solving the problem, even for introducing the new features. So now OEM changed their strategy. Once you buy a car, in our days, okay, that's it. We go for second variant, and from day until we sell that vehicle, the same feature would exist. But today, OEM completely changed their strategy. Every month or every year, you will be upgraded with some new features. So living thing like that, we are continuously getting upgraded, right? So for that context, without cloud, is it possible? It's completely not possible. Another aspect is from human touch point context, right? Alexa, basically we do tie up with Alexa and having that voice recognition system. Earlier days, we would be able to give only open door, close the door, open, specific operation. Then specific way only we would be able to, car would be able to recognize the voice, because it's a specific software written inside our product, and that will recognize in one format only. But once Alexa VR comes in, everything, whatever we speaks, which is getting processed in the cloud, and it's also interconnected. So I can say, from car to turn on the AC in my home. From my home through my phone, I can start my car engine. So this much level of connectivity happens only because of the cloud. The third aspect is, lot of processing earlier happened inside the vehicle. We have to write lot of software. Now, most of the software is written outside of that vehicle. Lot of analytics are happening. For example, you are driving in a new road, there is a pothole, right? And this data from the previous vehicle is being taken, passed on to the OEM cloud, OEM maintaining cloud. There it is being passed on, it's already detected there is a pothole here. So the next user goes there. Before reaches that itself, this intimation will come that there is a pothole, you drive carefully. So all these things can be achieved only with the support of the cloud.
This is the generative AI that I was talking about.
Yeah. Anybody else wants to add? I think before we wrap up this last topic, I want to cover. I think you touched upon AI ML,
Right.
and I think AI ML is also now getting embedded in omnichannel customer service strategies. We heard about Alexa, Google, workflow, speech technologies, or Autobots. How relevant they are in customer service? Is it really, or people still want to talk to an agent or a person to resolve the issues or get anything? I've seen a lot of companies struggling. They have implemented a lot of technologies, but probably not very successful. Maybe it is not keeping pace with the human. The way it is a language barrier, specifically in India. Maybe globally it is more simpler. So, any thoughts on that?
So it's more of a human perspective, so it varies from individual to individual. I would prefer more of chat rather than sitting and talking to somebody. Some people would prefer that human touch. They would like to have an emotional, conversation to vent out their anger or happiness or frustration or whatever. Then there is something people just want to send some mail and make sure that whatever thing as needs to be. So again, when you say a chat, I would want to have an intelligent chat, because by the time I save, I raise a dispute or complaint, I'm fine if it's going to be an interactive, even if no agent is there behind, but even if it's with an AI tool which gives me the correct inputs and it understands what is it I exactly want, I'm fine with it. And again, I don't want to waste time on any kind of these kind of omni-channels. A lot of probably my entire interaction should be like a minute or maximum 2 minutes, and my issue should get addressed or resolved, or at least work in progress. So I raise a ticket saying that, hey, I have a problem. So I'm fine with the chat doing it. And today, people don't not want the IVR part. They are very press one for this, press one for English.
Yeah.
So what the system should do is the moment they know I'm calling from my registered number, then they should know what is my language preference. I know English, I know Hindi, so it should be either English or it should be my regional language standard. So every time they should not come and ask me what is your problem?
Yeah.
Yes.
And second is you are calling a customer care center, which means you definitely need to talk to an agent. That's why you're calling, right? I don't want an IVR. So why you want to even waste time saying press one, you want to go to this account, you want to do this, or straight away you connect me to an agent. That's what I want to do, right? So and by the time I connect to an agent, today everything is connected to your mobile number or that's today your kind of a master field. Your mobile number is your master field. So today we go to a bank, I don't need to remember my account numbers. I go there and today, I need something, sir, tell me your mobile number. That's it. They punch my mobile number, my entire account number, my portfolio, whatever, everything pops up. And they say, hey, what do you want to do? So that way, the moment today, even if you are on any kind of interaction platform, you give your mobile number, then your data comes up and it becomes easy for them to connect. So today, the threshold levels are again, the tolerance levels of the people are much more, it's like your internet speed. We were happy with 2 Mbps of speed 10 years back, but today, even today, you have 300, 400 Mbps at home, and sometimes when you see a movie, it goes round and round, then you get to stop. As if you are such intolerant at all. But that's how it is. So the people, the way of life has changed, the tolerance levels have changed. We expect more as an individual, we expect more. So then as an organization, then we have to hype up the customer experience levels. So as an organization, we have to constantly look out for various technologies, various platforms, whether it's an omnichannel or a single channel or a multiple, whatever channel it might be. So the experience becomes very important. And today, people are happy with their experience. So and they want that experience, they go back to the same people. So that way your business also grows. So that way, I would say the omni-channel, whatever today has to also be intelligent. It has to also have a lot of analytics and give you data. So I don't need to do certain, for me, a simple dashboards or simple information is more important and responses are more important.
Exactly.
See, one of the examples I'll share, and this is across all the industries, not just e-commerce. So, machine learning technologies, right, are very well integrated with overall customer experience. So let's say we are calling and the associate is answering the call, and we discussed earlier that associate doesn't have all the tools or maybe is not very well trained, so puts us on a hold. And the moment that hold increases and there is a threshold which crosses, machine learning is catching that. And machine learning over a period of time has these algorithms which then gets fed to different sets of people. Essentially, it goes to the customer service head of that particular program or the vertical. But the problem out here is that how is that CX head really using that machine learning data to feed into your training? Yes. Is it really going into the new hire curriculum? Answer is still a no. So for example, if I have so much of data with me from machine learning which tells me that what contact types is the associate struggling, what is that he or she is not able to answer to the customer, I have that data through machine learning and it also is raising an alarm. But am I integrating it with intelligent training systems and mechanisms to say next time I do this next year or next month or next quarter, I don't want to have the same issue again. So are we really evaluating it from that that angle? Honestly, the answer is to me is a no still in India. And that's why to your point, Bhavish, right, US does this exceedingly well. Yes. So one of the technologies in US which is there is that let's say the customer is driving through a driveway restaurant, because there's a lot of driveway concept out there, and the person who's driving has the intelligence with him that how much time is the counter going to take, 5 minutes or 6 minutes, depending on the booking, depending on the traffic and all of that. And this ML is actually telling the driveway restaurant that this particular customer had visited you earlier and the experience of this particular customer was not particularly good because you wasted a lot of time giving the food packet to the customer. So the person here on the food counter actually knows that this particular customer is on the way and perhaps is the third number who I'm going to serve. So I need to be extra careful with this customer, and I got to do this faster than I've done in the past. So that entire mechanism in US is absolutely fabulous, I would say. Entire integration of ML to the person who's managing the product, to the person who's managing the training, and it actually goes to the recruitment team as well out there in US. So they then are very clear that the operator in that food service driveway has to understand the entire mechanism. If you just hire a local bloke who doesn't have understanding of the technology, then perhaps that entire integration will not help.
Interesting. I think US retailers do very well.
Yeah.
Right. It's more of fine tuning the knowledge management system continuously. So the power comes.
It's okay, we can talk, I think. Only it will not be recorded.
See, the same challenge as Abhishek was saying. See, today, most of my customers want to have AI technology, but do they have the data set?
Correct.
That is something a challenge. Your knowledge management has to be strong. So, are you refreshing your knowledge management year on year, or at least monthly once? That is a challenge again. As Sir said, like about particular pothole, trying to predict and tell, okay, next time the particular driver don't use this particular way. There are lots of potholes. Take the other way. So, these kinds of generative AI happens only if you refresh your knowledge management. So that's where the challenge is. And let me take a use case where we moved a particular the customer had a challenge where digital adoption was very tough to the customer because it was a pensioners fund kind of company. They wanted the particular the customers to adopt digital channels. That was the most toughest. And they wanted their customers not to reach a voice contact center at all. They wanted to shut down the voice as a channel. So that was a challenge given to me. So first what we did is we checked their knowledge base. Whether they are able to get all the information on the website. They have a mobile app. Whether the mobile app is correct. All the information is available to the customer. Why are they contacting them? Because when they reach a contact center, they reach for a simple reason. That's not a transactional detail or anything. First what we did is we understood all their interaction data, what were the top call drivers, what are the areas to automate. So that took us 6 months time to analyze their data. Then we decided, okay, don't shut down your voice. You're going to, your CSAT score is going to go down very drastically down. Slowly we can deflect you from a voice to non-voice channels. First we introduced a visual IVR. That was because they also had in the pension fund, they also had a Mediclaim policy where customers call in case they have to raise a kind of Mediclaim to upload the documents. Every time they reached out a voice contact because these are people who are aged over 40, 50. Yeah. Even though you say India, I would say India has a better digital adoption compared to UK or a Europe region. We think US has introduced multiple technologies, but still they are the one who adopt less. So moving them to digital is something that we are concentrating. I think the same requirement has come for 3 to 4 customers. So
machine learning, the biggest gap which I've seen is that integration doesn't happen.
Yes.
So I'm the expert in machine learning. I've done the entire analysis. I've given all the algorithms. I just think my job is done. And the other person sitting on the other side, ops person or a customer experience person, has no understanding of what technology or what algorithm, because he's just connected with the customer. So that's one big particular gap which we are seeing. And some of the organizations in India in e-commerce are doing exceedingly well on this particular part, where they're integrating this machine learning because it's a very complex world. It looks very easy to us from outside that e-commerce is easy, but trust me, there is a seller who's trying to sell on the website, and there is a logistics team who's trying to support you from the back end to deliver that particular product. Then there are choice of products which you need to list on your website, and then also you need to have the integration with the pin codes and all of that. So all the functions will, if they come together from the machine learning data, then it definitely improves the overall customer experience. Otherwise, then you're just working in silos.
Absolutely. I think it is not a tech project. There has to be a very clear actionables along with that. Otherwise, the whole thing is.
Right.
Any closing comments? Feel free, anybody. Nitin, you want to speak something now?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing which I recently attended a conference, and Mr. Vishal Sikka was one of the speakers. So he was talking about AI. So one of the remarkable comments that he made that the AI that we have right now is hallucination. So I mean, we might believe what we get as an output from an AI, but that may not be the right thing. So it is very important that we have to overcome this hallucination in order to use AI effectively. So we call it AI, but it may not be that intelligent as of now. In some of the cases it is, yes, but not always. So that's the take.
Okay, so maybe like to add a few points about machine learning and AI from automotive, which has already been there in the road now, like all Tesla cars. Right? Now we are moving towards this next gen kind of thing. Like maybe our next generation would really think about whether you had to drive manually, the car. Was that the situation at yours? Did you try that, right? That's what is going to happen. So that all because of these two things, right? Like the machine learning and artificial intelligence, the amount of algorithm is being put in with the sensors. Right?
You mean the autonomous driving?
Autonomous driving, right? So it will eventually happen. It's already been there, and
I don't think it will ever happen in India.
It will happen because adapting to our environment, a lot of improvement would happen. With respect to infrastructure also it should happen, it will happen, and we would come to that. Okay, so in that context, one more point is on predictive maintenance. That is a place that the machine learning comes into major. So, most of the time we will face the problem. Once the problem is being faced, then okay, something went wrong, then we go to service center. In the predictive maintenance context, how it will work is the data from the vehicle will be continuously passed on to cloud. That is the raw data of the vehicle. That will be processed and it will predict that okay, there is this component is going to get failed because of these parameters. So better to go for a preventive maintenance kind of approach. So that kind of advice we would be getting from the service center. While we get that, we are also migrating to 4G to 5G, right? So the speed of the network and reliability of the network, everything is going to be much faster than the 4G. So it will bring in that efficiency of pumping the data, raw data from our side, and get much more efficiency or effectiveness from machine learning and artificial intelligence.
Imagine the number of IoT sensors in a car. It has to monitor literally each and every component part, and everything, and how much of data is uploaded onto the cloud, and how much of data is processed, and how much of insights it gives into the service center, insights it gives into the customer, and how it acts upon on a real-time basis. See, these are back-end data, but for other cars like Volvo and all, it works real-time basis. So real time it uploads data, real time it predicts, and real time it does a lot of stuff.
Lot of things, yeah. It involves human life, right? The safety aspect is very important. So playing with human life, so we have to be.
On the predictive maintenance, we are actually using these models, wind turbines. So it collects all the big data and analyzes it and tells us, sitting here in Chennai, that a certain wind farm, this particular wind turbine needs attention, say in Gujarat or somewhere in Rajasthan, and the local team takes care of it. So if it doesn't allow the turbine to fail, and maintenance can be done.
Yeah. Fine, I think it's now 2. I would like to now thank everybody. Just quickly, I would like to summarize some of the things which I felt we have learned. I think omni-channel is a way. Companies have to strike a right balance, the way the channels they provide the customer service with, and the customers and the agents who are going to interact with. There has to be a right balance. It cannot be extreme. You cannot have super agents, nor can you have too much of artificial intelligence, ML, which is not relevant. A correct balance has to be struck between, for each vertical, each company, for they know their set of customers, whether it is internal or external. Cloud definitely is one of the biggest pillars of digital transformation, is a way. I mean, it is a given now, you have to do it, but you have to manage it. and you have to keep optimizing how to reduce the cost. And I think multi-touch, omni-touch is the way forward. I think you have to keep giving more options to customers, and you have to find out each customer what is the way they would like to interact with, and is they are most happy or most convenient for, and predict that if he's going to come again, this is the channel of choice I need to do. That is where analytics and ML will come in. So I think with that, I would like to thank all of you all once again for sharing your morning and afternoon as well. We got a little bit delayed because of the audio system. I think we'll now call it a day and we'll go for lunch.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.